The Minnesota Timberwolves went from one of the most hyped up teams in recent history, with back-to-back Rookie of the Year winners on their roster, to now being back to the top of the lottery. It shouldn't be a surprise, they're the next team in the future series. So if you guys like my content and you want to see more of this series, smash the like button. Let's try to get 47 likes on today's video, and let's hop into it. So as I mentioned in the intro, at one point, the future expectations for the Timberwolves was sky high. The time period I'm referring to is fresh out of the 2016 draft. They had acquired the #1 pick in 2014, Andrew Wiggins, in the Kevin Love trade, who had won Rookie of the Year in Minnesota. They then got Karl-Anthony Towns with the top pick in 2015, who also won Rookie of the Year. They had a young Zach LaVine, who was a fan favorite with his ability to jump out the gym, and they had just drafted Providence point guard Chris Dunn with the 5th overall pick, who was looked at as the consensus top guard in that draft. I vividly remember a massive portion of the NBA community deeming them the next dynasty. That clearly didn't happen, and just 4 years later, they again have the #1 pick in the draft. Timberwolves fans have been in a weird position for a while now, as they've been gifted a lot of optimism basically every season, but haven't actually enjoyed any winning basketball. Their hope right now is in the hands of their franchise center Karl-Anthony Towns, who, while not being a great defender, is one of the best offensive big men the NBA has ever seen. At 24 years old, he averaged 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting an insane 51% from the field and 41% from 3 on almost 8 attempts a game. Let me remind you, he is a center. He's easily the best shooting big man we've ever seen, and it's a great time for that to be the case. Midway through the season, he was given a co-star in D'Angelo Russell, who at 23 will have the same timeline in his career, and just a season ago, he made his first All-Star appearance, averaging 21 points and 6 assists, and this season, that was bumped up to 23 points on slightly better efficiency. Obviously, both these players are not going to bring you much on the defensive end, but offensively, I'm extremely excited to see what they're capable of. They also have a guy that I've talked about quite a lot, but hasn't gotten much attention, Malik Beasley. Since coming to the NBA, Malik Beasley has garnered the reputation as a very solid 3-and-D player, but that was about it. Since being traded to Minnesota, he's looked like a potential star. He's averaged 21 points, shooting 47% from the field and 43% from 3 on over 8 attempts a game. Now, it's hard to imagine him being a top option going forward, but I really think he can be the perfect 3rd or 4th option for this roster. They also have their 6th overall pick in the recent draft, Jarrett Culver. Now, Culver was flat out disappointing as a rookie. There's no really other way to put it. He hasn't been nearly the perimeter defender the Wolves thought they were drafting, and he's also averaged 9 points, shooting a terrible 40% from the field and less than 30% from 3. Out of all the lottery picks this season, he's probably looked the closest to a bust, but I really hope we can start to see some of that potential we saw at Texas Tech. Now, they also have some other okay young guys like Josh Okogie and Omari Spellman, but when we're talking about their future, these guys aren't going to be game changers. Now let's look at the contracts. Luckily for them, they've got their 2 young stars, D'Lo and Cat, locked up till 2023, but because they're giving these two a combined $60 million a season, they don't have too much flexibility when it comes to free agency. Some other notable contracts they currently have will be James Johnson, who has a $16 million player option next season. They've got Jarrett Culver, who's on a rookie scale contract, which will pay him roughly $6 million a season unless they don't want to pick up his team options. They've also got Jake Layman getting paid $4 million until 2022. They also need to make some decisions on guys like Omari Spellman, Okogie, and Jacob Evans when it comes to their team options for roughly $4 million a season in 2021. So while they have a lot of money locked up in 2 players, they still do have quite a lot of possibilities with that money that will be freeing up. Now, we also have to consider they're going to have this #1 pick contract added to the group, which is around $10 million a season, and if they decide to give or match Malik Beasley this summer, they really won't have too much cash laying around. Now, that's something I really hope they do, obviously, assuming a team doesn't come in and offer something ridiculous. So unlike a lot of teams in this series, I don't think the Wolves will be in contention for really any of the top free agents, but I don't think that's what this team really needs. Considering what they have and what they're about to potentially draft, their focus in the next couple summers is going to be building the strongest supporting cast possible, or at least I hope that's what they're going to try to do. Now lastly, we've got to talk about the draft, which is why this team got bumped up to the top of the list for this series. They came into the draft tied for the best odds at the top pick, and they got it. As we talked about in the mock, this selection is coming down to 2 players, Anthony Edwards and Lamelo Ball. This team is going to miss out on their top pick next season, as that's going to Golden State, so they really need to make sure they hit on this selection. We'll start it off with Lamelo. Now, Lamelo is obviously not a match made in heaven for this roster. They already have D'Angelo Russell, who plays the same exact position. D'Lo's not a great defender, and it's hard to say what we're going to see from Lamelo on that end. It doesn't project to be great right now, but he definitely has a size, and we saw his brother greatly exceed defensive expectations since coming to the league. I also mentioned in the mock, when talking about a couple teams, that it's been much more commonplace in the league to see a 2-point guard system. If you think the backcourt could somehow figure it out defensively, this selection might make sense. Lamelo has the biggest ceiling in this draft, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. D'Angelo Russell is an above-average off-ball point guard. The idea of having 2 shot creators at the level of D'Angelo Russell and Lamelo Ball, with a floor spacer like Karl-Anthony Towns, sounds scary, but as you guys should know, it is not that simple. I think the biggest thing that could give a team like Minnesota hope Lamelo could work, despite a not-so-perfect fit, is his size. He's legitimately 6'7", 6'8". While we're so tunnel-visioned at looking at him as a point guard, he actually has quite a lot of flexibility going forward. In most cases, I'm a firm believer that if you think you have a chance at the best player in the draft, you take them, regardless of the fit in your roster. But in this specific instance, with how close I think it is between Lamelo and Edwards as prospects, I think Edwards is the right pick right now. This is definitely a situation where we could be saying, how was Lamelo not looked at as a consensus top pick a couple years from now? But only time will tell. Anthony Edwards wasn't extremely efficient in his one and only season at Georgia, but man, was he impressive. He's coming in with an NBA ready 6'5" frame. He plays both ends of the floor at an elite level and screams with shot creation potential. He truly just reminds me so much of Victor Oladipo. He won't be known for being elite at any one thing on the offensive side, but he'll be a threat every night to create his own shot at all 3 levels. What's really important about this selection is the fact that we know there's a willingness on the defensive end. This isn't a scenario where he walks in and is handed the keys to the offense. He's got a lot to prove, and that's going to first come as a defender. So assuming they draft Anthony Edwards, it's really hard not to envision a bright future ahead for this roster. A young backcourt of D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards. A wing in Malik Beasley who will play both sides, shoot at an elite level, and has proven his ability to ramp up the volume. One, if not the best center in the whole entire league. And Jarrett Culver, who as we said, didn't look great, but if they can just get 60% of what they thought they drafted, man oh man. I don't see any player on this roster right now that can be that LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, a player that can just take over and single-handedly bring a team to title contention. It's easy to look at the names on paper, stats on paper, and assume this team is going to do great. They need to find their identity. They need more strength in their bench. But regardless, I'm only taking the over on their future. But that's the video, guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe. And the shoutouts are gonna be Edward, Constant, Nate, Seamus, and Callum. If you guys want to shout out in the next video, all you gotta do is like the video and comment liked or rep notification squad, and I'll shout 5 of you guys out. With all being said, hope you guys have a great day, and peace.